question I'm asked the most when people find out that I like board games is, what's your favorite game? The answer is simple: Cosmic Encounter. Love this game. Originally came out in the 70s, still going strong. And when people find out that I like the game, and they also might enjoy the game, they want to know what my favorite alien is. Now, between this base game and the expansions, there are 150 plus aliens that are in the game. I don't remember the exact number, but I know there is quite a few of them. And while I like almost all of them, sorry machine, sorry whirligig, but for most of them I like, and I can go through and I can use any of the aliens, but some of them I like using more than others. So this is just a list of my favorite 10 aliens that I like to use in Cosmic Encounter, the new or the newish Fantasy Flight version. First, we'll go over something that almost made the cut. Love. It's not very loving, but I like it. Squee. Cuteness that kills. Ace. Changes the game and how it plays. And the Prophet. I enjoy all those, but let's get to number 10. Number 10 is the Amoeba. This comes from the original set. Now, the Amoeba I like because before you have an encounter, you can increase or decrease the number of ships you have. Now, normally you can only have 4 ships in an encounter, but with the Amoeba, you could bring in 12, 13. Now, you'll notice that when I come to games, I like to push my luck to some degree. And Amoeba is dangerous because you can really push your luck and say, I'm bringing in 15 ships. There was one time I brought in all 20 of my ships, and then I lost. But at the same time, you can win greatly, too. Or if you think you're going to lose, you can ooze some of your ships out, which is pretty fun for me. I like this one quite a bit. Very good defensive power, but can be very cool on the offensive. After that is the Diplomat. Now, I like anything. The Pacifist was one of the aliens that I considered, but I like the Diplomat because he makes a 3-way negotiation, which is a lot harder than a 2-way negotiation, and he kind of horns in on something that he's not able to do. When you're not the main player, but you have negotiate cards in your hand, you can use one of those to play it, and then basically there's a 3-way negotiation between you and the 2 main players. This is hilarious fun. It's fun to watch too, and it involves 3 players. This is in a 6-player game. That would be half the players involved in the game. So it's very interesting as to how this guy works out, and I like him quite a bit. Then we have the Calculator. Now, the Calculator is a harder one to use, and that is why I enjoy playing with him. After the cards are selected, but before they're revealed, you can say, I'm going to equalize. And so then you turn over the 2 cards, and the higher card is reduced by the value of the lower card. So this, you have to kind of figure this out. So if your opponent's playing a 40, you're like, oh, great. If I have a 20, I can play the 20. His is reduced by 20, and now we're tied. Or better yet, if I have the 30, he's reduced down to 10, and I'm a 30. Or more practically, if he has a 12 and I have a 4, now he's down to 8 while I'm still at 4. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but you can play lower cards and use this. And then your opponent has to sit there and try to figure out what's he going to do here? Is he going to use his equalized power? So he might play the lower card, and then you slam him with a higher card and don't use your power. The Gambler. I like anything that kind of lets me bluff or push my luck. Here you can basically lie about the card that you play. You can sit there and say, this card is a 20, and I love how that is because if they challenge your claim, you reveal your card, and if you lie, you lose ships. But if you told the truth, they lose ships. So, you can take maybe a card, or maybe your opponent knows that you've gotten a good card from his hand, and you can say you have that card. Then they have to say, does he really have it, or is he just bluffing? I love to bluff, even though I'm very terrible at it, so the Gambler is one I like. Similar to the Calculator is the Mirror. The Mirror is a much simpler one. He just reverses the digits. He turns a 40 to a 04. He changes the 16 to a 61. So that can really change up how the game works. And again, this is one that you don't have to use. So since you may use this power, your opponent's going to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to play a 9 because that's the best thing to play, because he'll switch it and it will be a 90. And then you play a 15 and then switch them. Just a lot of fun, again, trying to outthink your opponent, the Mirror. The Greenhorn is one of the newest aliens in the game. Just makes me laugh. Because basically you act like a noob. I would have called it the noob over the Greenhorn. So whenever you don't have any attack cards, you can draw a new hand. Whenever you can rearrange ships anytime you want amongst your planets. You can play your kicker after the encounter cards rather than before that. You can play rifts and artifacts that are limited to the regroup and alliance phase as though they're playable as any player and during any phase. Basically, you can break all kinds of little rules in the game. Now, they have, at the beginning of each encounter, you have to show one of the cards you hand to someone else and then ask them a question about that card. Now, that's really there just to be silly, although it can be also potent because you can show someone a card you have and give them some clues about what you're trying to do. But I love the theming of this card. Basically, oh, well, I didn't know I couldn't do that. Oh, it's just great. The Human, the most ordinary card, mostly harmless, is the special ability. All humans do is add 4 to their side's total, which is not a terrible thing, but if you ever zap the human's power, they automatically win the encounter. Everybody knows that, everyone's fearful of that, everyone wonders if you have a cosmic zap saved up in your hand, and there's no way to stop it unless you cancel the cosmic zap. This is a very straightforward thing. It looks, most of the time, when I hand out the powers and people get human, they do not pick him. But I will, because I like him. The Joker is another new one, where he comes with a whole pile of tokens. There's 9 different tokens. So you have these 9 tokens here. You got a Morph, a Negotiate, a Retreat, a 4, an 8, a 42, a 15, a 23, and a 16. And what you do is you pick a card that's wild. So let's say you say, 6s are wilds. In fact, at the beginning of the game, the first card that is wild is an 8. But you can say any number you want on your turn using the power, and when someone plays that, you can replace that card with something else, which can be used to hurt your opponent. You say the 40 is now wild. Someone plays the 40, you replace with a Negotiate. Or you can say 8s are wild, and now you replace with the 42. Now, once you replace it and use it, you flip the tile over, and you can't use it until you've used all your tiles. But considering the 42 and 23 and 15 are all, and 16, those are 4 really good cards to have. The Morph, which becomes the same thing as your opponent, that's also great. Negotiate and Retreat can be great in the right circumstances. And 8 and 4 can be great, well, against a calculator, but also just to change your opponent's card into something else. So I like this one quite a bit, the Joker. Then we have the Philanthropist. Now you might wonder, how could he put the Philanthropist as number 2? It's one of the weakest characters in the game. And I'll tell you, the first time I played Philanthropist, which was 25 years ago probably when I first played this game, I thought the Philanthropist was not that good either. He gives cards to other people. How is that helpful? But I'll tell you, I have won many games with the Philanthropist because everyone considers him incredibly weak. Well, maybe not after watching this video. But even after I explain it, it doesn't seem very useful. You can give a card to your opponent, and they can add it to their hand and play it normally. You can give your junk to other players. You fill their hands with junk, and you get rid of junk out of your hand, just making your hand lean and mean, making your hand go through quicker, being able to draw a new hand and slow other players down. Also, you know what cards other people have because you've given them to them. So you can do this every time you're the main player or an ally. Very useful, and you can help people out, like you're an ally on the attack. I can help you out by giving you a very useful card. I really like this power, but not as much as I like my favorite power, which is the Masochist. The Masochist has the power to hurt themselves. They lose if all your ships die. Now this one is really hard to pull off, but every time I play with this guy, I love it. You can try to win the normal way by getting 5 planets outside your solar system. It's very possible, but you can go in with reckless abandon because you don't care if your ships die. When you offer to help people as an ally, they're wondering, do they think I'm going to lose? And you're trying to pick the loser. You might even play cards to help the other side win. I just enjoy this. I love how this works out. My favorite alien is the Masochist. So there you go. One thing that you might find interesting is my top 10 aliens are all either from the base set or from the newest expansion, Cosmic Dominion. Now that doesn't mean anything really. I mean, when I showed these other 4 aliens, the Squee, Love, Ace, and Prophet, let's see, some more. These are from Cosmic Dominion, Cosmic Storm, Cosmic Dominion, and then the first expansion. So I guess Cosmic Dominion has to be my favorite expansion since so many of my favorite aliens come out of it. But I like lots of the aliens. I like many of the different aliens, but I guess I'm not saying these are the best aliens. I'm not saying these are the most powerful aliens. These are aliens that if I get them in my hand, I'll probably choose one of them because I like them that much. So those are my top 10 aliens for Cosmic Encounter. What are yours? Tell us in the comments. Tell us why.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.